Everyone. Hi, today we will be discussing Biology SPM Trial 2021, Paper 1. This is set 1 of the Selangor Pass Trial 2021 paper. Okay, let's begin. What is the purpose of forming a hypothesis in biology? Now, a hypothesis is an early prediction of an experiment or a problem statement that you're trying to solve. So the answer here would be C, to make a conclusion on the problem phase. Okay, so the answer is C. Yeah? Next, diagram 1 show a component in a cell. What is this component? Okay, so the component here, you look at the vesicle that is coming out and leaving the organelle. Okay, so the answer for this question is C, 2C, Golgi apparatus, because you can see that Golgi apparatus has this vesicle that leave and attach or fuse to the Golgi apparatus and leaving the Golgi apparatus. Okay, there is no ribosome attached here, so this is not rough endoplasmic reticulum. Which of the label parts A, B, C, or D is the carrier protein? Now the answer is A. A is a carrier protein. B is a channel protein, because there's a channel here. Whereas C and D is actually pointing to the phospholipid. So A is the carrier protein. Okay. Solution P has a higher osmotic pressure than solution Q. Higher osmotic pressure than solution Q. So you look at the first part of the question first. P has a higher, which means that the value of P must be higher than the value of Q. So it's either B or C, because its molarity is more. Whereas R has a lower osmotic pressure than Q. R has a lower osmotic pressure than Q. So, which means that the value of R must be lower than Q. So 0.1 is lower than 0.2, whereas P 0.5 is higher than 0.2. So answer is C. Okay. The following information is about Y. What is Y? Now, energy reserve for animals protect internal organ, right? So, out of this, the best answer is A. Okay, fats is the for energy reserve, and it also protect the internal organ. Which of the following is related to catabolism? Now, catabolism is a process of breaking down of large molecule. Okay, the breaking down of large molecule into smaller molecule. Okay, right? So the answer here is B. Okay, next. Diagram 3 show a type of metabolism that is involved energy. Which of the process represent the metabolism? So you can see here that the molecule needed energy to form a larger molecule. So this is a process in which you see the smaller molecule combine to form a larger molecule. So the answer here would be D, synthesis of glycogen from the glucose in the liver is the answer. Synthesis means, the word synthesis means the formation or to produce glycogen from glucose. Okay, so the process of aerobic, alcohol fermentation, hydrolysis of carbohydrate, all this does not, all this produces energy instead of needing energy. Yeah? Diagram 4 show a complete set of chromosomes with a human genetic disease. Okay, so let's see what is the question here. Which of the following combination of gamete contribute to the disease? Okay, so if you look at the question here, okay, what can you see? What can you see from here? There are 3 chromosome number 21, right? Okay, and there is 1 chromosome X. Okay, so here you can see there's 3 chromosome number 21. So this is chromosome, there are 3. And then there's only 1 chromosome, sex chromosome. So if you look at the autosome, there are extra, for normal individual, you have total of 46 chromosomes. So 44, 45, 46. So this is a male. But if you see here, there's an extra chromosome number 21. So which means that there is 45 chromosome autosome, but lacking in 1 sex chromosome. So it can be X, O. All right. So let's look at the option of the answer. So if this is a normal, this is for a normal number of chromosomes in an individual, but here the question asks for gametes. Okay. So which of the following combination of gamete contribute to the disease? Okay. So again, you must remember it is 45, looking for 45, total must be 45. So here the answer is C, 2, 2 and 4. So 45, 22 plus 23, 22 plus 23, so you get 45. Okay, so the 1 and 2 is 22 plus 22 is 44. So that's not the answer. So answer is C. Okay, mitochondria is a cell were affected by chemical substance that block the entrance of oxygen. Which of the following explain the condition to the aerobic respiration? Okay, so block, it says that it blocked the entrance of oxygen. So here, what would be the consequence? Okay, reaction to produce carbon dioxide, water, and energy does not occur. Reaction to produce lactic acid does not occur. Reaction to produce ethanol energy occur, or reaction to produce lactic acid and energy occur. Okay, so without oxygen, then the reaction is to produce ethanol, carbon dioxide, and energy. Okay, so because this one is it says that explain the condition to the aerobic. In under aerobic condition, A will occur. A will occur. Okay, but without oxygen, then lactic acid fermentation or ethanol alcohol fermentation will take place. So the reaction will then produce ethanol, carbon dioxide, and energy. So the answer is C. Okay, number 10. Which of the following explain glycolysis? Now, glycolysis is the breakdown of the initial glucose into a 3-molecule pyruvate. Okay, so the glycolysis here then continue with the breakdown of the pyruvate into CO2, water, and energy. Okay, so glycolysis is the breakdown of glucose by enzyme. Okay, so it starts from glucose and it ends by the complete oxidation into CO2, water, and energy. Okay, so the answer is D. So okay, diagram 5 shows parts of the human respiratory system. Which of the following is correct about the adaptive feature of the respiratory structure? So this is alveolus. Now, alveolus have characteristic which enable it to carry out its function effectively. Okay, so which of the following is correct? Now, A, respiratory surface is moist for the absorption of water. This is wrong. Alveolus don't absorb water. The respiratory surface is thin to make the diffusion of gases faster. Yes, this is correct. The respiratory structure has a large network of blood capillary to transport nutrients. Okay, alveolus does not transport nutrient, it transport oxygen. So answer here is B. Okay, number 12. Diagram 6 shows an experiment that was conducted to study the action of pepsin on protein. Okay, so you can see here there's albumin, sodium hydroxide, and pepsin. What is the observation obtained from this experiment? Okay, the cloudy suspension turned into clear. Okay, remember, this is using pepsin. The clear solution turns into a cloudy suspension. The cloudy suspension in the beginning of experiment remain until the end of the experiment. Yes, this is the correct answer. Answer is C. Yeah? Okay. Because pepsin requires a acidic medium for it to work best. So here, since you add hydroxide solution, this is alkaline. So alkaline pepsin cannot function in an alkaline condition, yeah. It has to be hydrochloric acid. Therefore, the hydrolysis does not take place. Does not take place at all. So therefore, the cloudy suspension will remain until the end of the experiment. What is the most suitable menu for an individual with obesity? Now, obese people have already weight or BMI that is more than 30. So therefore, he cannot eat anything that is oily or lots of lipid. He has to reduce his intake of food that contains sugar as well as lipid. So the best answer here would be A. A, because steamed chicken, the method of cooking does not involve oil if you don't add oil during steaming. Okay. So steamed chicken, fruit salad, boiled spinach, and warm water. So here, the word fry here, we're adding oil. So is this one, and white rice is actually contain a lot of starch that will cause a person to also put on weight, so it can lead to also obesity. Diagram 7 shows a longitudinal section of human vein. What is the function of S? Now, so you look at here, S, this is a vein. So the vein here, there's S here, okay? So S is actually the valve. So what does a valve do? Okay, so the valve is prevent the backflow of blood to the lower part of the vein. So when blood flow upward, okay, the valve will close so that there won't be any backflow of blood back to the lower part of your leg. So every time when the muscle contract, it pushes blood upward, so the valve will close so that it won't flow backward. Okay, next, question 15. Which of a married couple has different rhesus factor? The first child is rhesus positive. The next pregnancy ends with miscarriage. Which of the following is correct on how to overcome this problem? Okay, so the mother, a married couple, has different rhesus positive. So here, the child is rhesus positive, which means that the father is Rh positive, the mother is Rh negative. So get the child Rh positive. Now, because the pregnancy ends with a miscarriage, so which means that the child is carrying Rh positive, which is different from the mother. Okay, the mother is recessive, whereas the child has the antigen for rhesus factor. So in order to overcome this problem, now the mother should be treated with anti-rhesus globulin to stop the formation of this anti-D, because when at the end of the pregnancy, fragments of this Rh negative will enter the mother, the fragments of the red blood cell of the fetus will enter into the mother blood circulatory system. Now, on the RBC has this Rh positive antigen. So when it enters the mother blood circulatory system, it triggers the production of antibody against this rhesus positive. So the mother, if she is treated with this anti-rhesus globulin, then it will stop the formation of this NTD or rhesus Rh positive factor antigen. So the mother would be able to then produce, when it's treated with this globulin, the formation of this antibody in the mother blood circulatory system will be stopped. That means it will not be produced. This antibody will not be produced. Therefore, the baby will not suffer or will not be aborted, because the mother antibody has been stopped. So it will not act against the rhesus positive antigen in the baby. Okay, so the answer is D. Diagram 8 shows the leg of a person suffering from lymphatic filariasis. Which of the following is the cause of this condition? Okay, so filariatic lymphatic filariasis is actually caused by a parasite, right, that lives inside the lymphatic system. So it's the parasite worm is called Brugia species. It will infect the lymphatic vessel and prevent the lymphatic flow. Okay, so the answer here is D. Now, this worm live inside the lymphatic vessel, so it multiply very fast and block the lymphatic vessel. Therefore, the lymph or lymphatic fluid cannot flow. So the fluid will then accumulate in the cell or in the intracellular cell and cause the leg to be swollen. Diagram 9 shows the concentration of antibody in the blood of both P and Q for a period of 10 weeks. To acquire immunity, both of them were given 2 injections separately. So you have look at the graph, individual P, the graph during the first injection, the immunity is low, has not reached the level of immunity that is required to ensure the person is immune to the disease. And then the second injection push up the concentration of antibody beyond the level of immunity. Whereas individual Q, after the first injection, the level of antibody rises quickly above the level of immunity, but it quickly falls back And then when you give a second injection, it increases back beyond the level of immunity. Okay, so here, what type of immunity is obtained by individual P and Q? So what type of immunity is obtained here? So P, which is the first graph, that is dotted, is artificial active immunity, because the body has to produce its own antibody after vaccination, after introducing a weakened pathogen into the body. Whereas Q, since the antibody level rises quickly, okay, and fall back also quickly, so therefore it is a artificial passive immunity. So the answer is A. The following symptoms are caused by a lack of hormone in an adult. Which hormone causes the symptom? Okay, so the symptom is low rate of heartbeat, low metabolism, and the body weight increases. So this one has to do with the hormone thyroxine. Okay, because thyroxine regulate the rate of heartbeat. When thyroxine is secreted, it increases the metabolism, and of course, with a higher metabolism, it also means that the person will not have any weight increase. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the blood of a spring of an athlete sorry, increases after his 100-meter run. Okay. Now, which of the following process occur to return the partial pressure of carbon dioxide to the normal level? Okay, so here the question asks, how do you return the increase of partial pressure carbon dioxide back to normal level after the 100-meter run? So the central chemoreceptor is not stimulated. Okay, this is not correct. Okay, because the level has to chemoreceptor will actually increase. The central chemoreceptor will detect and get stimulated. Breathing rate and ventilation rate increases, yes. Intercostal muscle contract and relax slower, no. And cardiac muscle of the heart contract and relax faster, correct. So if you want to return the carbon dioxide back to its concentration, normal concentration, back to the normal concentration, then your breathing rate must increase to quickly take in more oxygen and remove the CO2 faster. Okay. Diagram 10 show the human skeletal system, which bone forms a part of the appendicular skeleton. So which one is the appendicular? Now, appendicular consists of all the hind limbs, the lower limb, the upper limb. Okay, so the answer is B. A, C, and D is axial skeleton. Diagram 11 shows the development of a follicle in an ovary. Which structure is involved in secreting progesterone? Okay, so if you look at the diagram, First, you have B here. The B here is actually a growing follicle. And then as the follicle grows to become a secondary follicle, inside there is a secondary oocyte. And then during C, okay, the secondary follicle will have grown to become the Graafian follicle. And then C is the period when ovulation occurs, where the secondary oocyte is released. So C is Graafian follicle. And finally, A is corpus luteum, the remain of the follicle after ovulation. So which means that A is the answer here because A is involved in secreting progesterone. Okay, question 22. Diagram show growth curve of an annual plant. What happened during stage A? Okay, so A here you can see there's a drop of the dry mass. So the dry mass has dropped, okay, before the increase. Now here it is because at this point, the food that is stored in the cotyledon is all being used up for germination. Therefore, the mass decreases before the mass increases back again after the plant has formed its own leaf to be able to carry out photosynthesis. Next question, 23. Okay. Diagram 13 show a cross-section of a leaf. Which structure are involved in photosynthesis? Now, the structure that can carry out photosynthesis is S and T. Okay, because S is the spongy palisade mesophyll and T is the spongy mesophyll. Okay, so R, which is the epidermis, does not have chloroplast. So only S and T, the palisade and the spongy mesophyll, has chloroplast to carry out photosynthesis. Okay, next question, 24. Diagram show two different types of plant. Which of the following statements are correct? Okay, so P is a Rafflesia here is a parasite. Okay, and Q is a epiphyte. Okay, epiphyte are plants that live on or they live on other tall plants to obtain height to absorb sunlight for maximum sunlight for photosynthesis. Okay, so answer is C. The following statement describes the effect of a mineral deficiency in a plant. What is the mineral deficiency that causes this condition in the plant? Okay, so the condition is slow growth or stunted growth, stunted growth. Leaf become distorted and curved, and the area between the leaf become yellow. Okay, so since the leaf become distorted and curved and there's yellowing on the leaf, so this is caused by deficiency in nitrogen. because nitrogen is involved in the synthesis of protein and chlorophyll. Okay, so without chlorophyll, the leaf will turn yellow, and without nitrogen, the synthesis of protein cannot take place, and therefore the growth of the plant becomes stunted. Diagram 15 shows a process that involves permanent loss of water from plant. So there is water droplets here coming out. Which of the following statement is correct about the process shown in the diagram? Okay, so this process here where water droplets can be seen coming out from the pores of the leaf is due to guttation. So the answer for this question is C, which is 2 and 4. The guttation does not occur through stoma, but through hydathodes. It only occurs in herbaceous plant, small plant, and it takes place due to the high root pressure of because the transpiration still occur during a cool, humid morning. Okay. Now, excuse me, I mean, the taking of water still happen during a cool, humid morning. Transpiration in the night and early morning. Yeah? In early morning. Now, transpiration does not take place because stomata has closed. So, because of the herbaceous plant are usually very short plant, and the process of the absorption of water still take place. This will cause a high root pressure that forces water to move upwards. Therefore, the excess water will then leave the leaf through special opening called hydathodes. Okay. Diagram 16 show a type of response that take place in a plant. So you can see this is Venus flytrap. Which of the following stimulus cause the plant to respond? Okay, so the answer is what causes this plant to capture the insect? Okay, so it's due to C is the answer here. Okay, is due to stimulus that cause vibration. Now, sudden mechanical stimulus, this one is more to mimosa pudica, where you touch the leaf and the leaf will close. Okay, so the stimulus that is caused by vibration here is due to the insect being caught, and that causes a vibration. So the plant react or give a response that closes the insect in. Diagram 17 show a fruit that Malaysian love. The fruit has a big size and bright color. Furthermore, the fruit contains 90% water and antioxidants such as lycopene. Which of the following is the importance to the plant to produce with many structure Q? Okay, so structure Q is the C. Now, C has can be planted to form a new plant. So the seed is actually very important for the survival of the species, for the continuation of the species. So with the production of many seeds, then that will increase the chances for reproduction and the survival of the species. Okay, 29. Diagram 18 shows the longitudinal section of the structure of female reproductive organ flower. Which of the following is the consequence to Q if P is unable to carry out germination due to stigma secreting less sucrose solution? Okay, P is pollen grain. Now, pollen grain will be stimulated to produce pollen tube. If the stigma produce this sticky, sugary substance that stimulate the pollen grain to produce pollen tube. However, the question say that the stigma is secreting less sucrose solution. So therefore, no pollen tube will be formed, and as a result, the male gamete cannot move down the pollen tube to fertilize the egg cell and the polar nuclei. So therefore, the fertilization does not take place. So the diploid zygote is not formed. Which of the following is the adaptive feature for xerophyte? Xerophyte plants are plants that live in very hot and arid habitat. So what are the ways in which they can live in this type of habitat? So a xerophyte has roots that spread widely so that it can penetrate deep into the soil. So to absorb all the water that is available. 31. Diagram 19 show a dichotomous key that's built by a Form 5 student. So you have P, Q, R, S here for this 4 statement. 3 pairs of leg, more than 3 pairs of leg, have seed, does not have seed. What are organisms P, Q, R, and S? Okay. Has 3 pairs of leg and Q has more than 3 pairs of leg. So insects have 3 pairs of leg. Insects like ant is an insect. So ant has 3 pairs of leg. Spider has more than 3 pairs of leg. Okay, next, let's look at the other two. R has seeds, means it is a flowering plant, while S has no seed, that means it is not a flowering plant. So maize is a flowering plant, while fern is not a flowering plant. So the answer is C. Okay, question 22. The following is the information about organism in kingdom Q. Prokaryotes, cell wall is made out of peptidoglycan, live in very hot and acidic area or anaerobic condition. What is a kingdom Q? Okay. Now, a prokaryote that live in very hot and acidic area is actually and archaea bacteria because they can survive in very extreme condition, either anaerobic or very acidic or alkaline condition. Okay. Which of the following is heterotrophic organism known as a saprophyte? Now, a saprophyte is an organism that can digest complex organic substances into simple organic substance by secreting enzyme outside their cell. So usually is the fungi and bacteria, saprophytic fungi and bacteria. So the answer here, since mushroom is a saprophyte, because mushroom belongs to the family of fungi, yeah? To the kingdom fungi. So the answer is D. 34. Diagram 20 show the human activities that cause the occurrence of phenomena as in an environment. Okay, so this phenomena is caused by deforestation, motor vehicle, livestock, agriculture. What is this phenomenon? Okay, what is this phenomenon? Okay, the phenomena is greenhouse effect, because greenhouse effect would cause is caused by deforestation, is caused by motor vehicle emitting gases such as carbon dioxide. Okay. Okay. Thalassemia is an inherited disease that is caused by abnormal hemoglobin formation. The trait is controlled by recessive allele, while normal hemoglobin formation is controlled by dominant allele. A man with thalassemia minor marries a woman with thalassemia minor. What is the chance of this? Okay, I'm so sorry. Let me share the screen again. Okay, so what is the chance for this couple to have the child with thalassemia? So here, okay, so thalassemia minor means the couple carries a recessive allele. They are heterozygous. So let's work this thing out. So you have here R, and R. Okay, so having two recessive allele would mean that the person will suffer from thalassemia major. So the recessive allele RR will cause the person to have thalassemia major. Well, there are 2 out of 4, which means that it is 50% chance for the child to be thalassemia minor, because there are 2 heterozygous condition here where the individual carry 1 recessive allele of R. So the answer here is B. the chance for this couple to get child with thalassemia minor having a recessive allele R is 50%. Okay, next question 36. Diagram show a schematic diagram between of a cross-pollination between two pea plants. So you have purple flower crossed with white flower. The phenotype of the offspring is one purple flower and one white flower. Purple flower trait is in the pea plant is controlled by dominant R, and white flower is controlled by recessive R. What are the genotypes of the parent? Okay, so purple is dominant while white is recessive. So the phenotype, the genotype for purple flower is big R, small r. The genotype for white flower is small r. So in order to get the offspring having one white flower, small r, and one purple flower, the parent must be heterozygous for the purple flower. It must be big R, small r. Okay, then only you can get the recessive white flower of RR. So the answer is A. Okay. Okay, next. A girl has sickle cell anemia disease. Okay, so what causes this disease? Now, sickle cell anemia, the shape has an abnormal hemoglobin, so that causes the shape of the red blood cell to look like a sickle shape instead of the normal biconcave dish shape. Okay, so the sickle cell anemia is caused by gene mutation. It's due to gene mutation. Okay, so there's a change in the structure of the gene, okay, in the sequence of the nitrogenous base, yeah. So answer here is B. Which of the following graph represent the variation shown by the characteristic of leaf? Now, leaf, of course, come in various sizes. So there is long leaf, there is short leaf. So that means the variation shown by leaf is continuous variation, just like our height. Human height is also caused by continuous variation. So answer here is A, because of the different length, okay, of the leaf, and continuous variation will produce a bell shape or histogram, a bar shape, a bell shape chart, yeah, graph. Diagram 22 show DNA profile of a child and the mother. There are also 3 other DNA profile of men, that one of them is most likely the father of the child. Among the 3 men, who is most likely to be the father of the child? Okay, so you look at the DNA profile, you look for the band. Okay, so here, this is the child, this is the mother, and the DNA that band that matches to the child, okay, will be this one here. The man here has this band here that is the child also has, whereas the other men do not have this band here. Okay, so the answer is man too. Okay, answer is B. Okay, now we come to the final question. The following statement explain about genetic engineering. Recombinant DNA technology has successfully produced many beneficial variety of crop and livestock that has desired characteristic. GMF possesses DNA from other species of plant or animal. Which of the following is the possible adverse effect of genetic engineering? Okay, so we are talking about adverse effect, not the good effect. So A is wrong. B is also not an adverse effect. Okay, C. When we introduce a foreign gene into the human, for example, the antibiotic resistant gene, let's say, may also be transferred to us if we eat food that contain genetic engineering food, right? Because you see here, the many type of food has already been genetically modified, whether it's in crops or in livestock. So the fear is that this foreign gene, which is found in the animal, can be transferred to us human when we consume them. Okay, then that wraps up our lesson, set 1, paper 1 of Selangor. So that ends our question for paper 1, yeah? So we'll see you the next time. Bye.